Nathan Day in the building, yeah. Let me say it as it is. Let me say it as it is. I owe Jesus everything. I'ma say it as it is.
Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. I am back on YouTube. I go by the name Nathan Day. Well, my name is Nathan Day, but I shorten it to Nathan Day for my YouTube channel. But I'm back. It's been ages since I've been on this channel, man. A lot's been going on. I do have another YouTube channel called Mental Roots. Mental Roots is a new creative brand, a new creative company that I've started, which does lots of content creation, including animation, podcasting, and more, to destigmatize mental health in the Black community. So if that's something that you're interested in, you know, talking about mental health, the different things impacting mental health in the Black community, and how we can move forward as Afro-Caribbeans, then you can go and check out that channel. The link to that will be in the description. But this channel was totally different. This channel is for all my other kind of creative endeavors as a Christian. As you can tell, I'm British. So to those watching all over the world, thanks for tuning in, man. I love Christian hip hop. And this video, as you can see from the title, is all about my journey through Christian hip hop over the years. Why am I talking about Christian hip hop? Because I listen to it all the time. I am a born again believer. I did grow up in a Christian household. But, you know, I think Christian hip hop kind of came in my own journey, especially in my early teens, as I was maturing in my taste in music, really starting to listen to rap lyrics and understand the stories that were being told in rap music. But then, you know, looking into Christian artists like Lecrae, Andy Mineo, all of Reach Records, the 116 movement, and then even winding back in time to look at other, you know, legends in the Christian hip hop scene, like the Cross movement over in the US, John Reuben, even tobyMac, who has now crossed over into the more Christian pop world. But it's just been a journey, and I'm just going to go through this video and kind of talk about why I'm kind of coming back to doing Christian hip hop content. A small number of you might know of some reaction videos that I did back in 2020. I reacted to two CHH albums. One was Lecrae's Restoration, and one was John Keith's Anti-Hero. I was thinking of doing more, and it was shortly before KB's For His Glory Alone album was going to come out, but then at that time I had too much going on, so I wasn't able to carry on with the with the reaction videos because I had other creative endeavors. I was working on Mental Roots stuff as well, working on the first animation in the Mental Roots content series. So I've always been a very busy creative. Anyone who knows me well will know that, you know, Nathan's always working on something, whether it's a spoken word poem. You've got examples of those poems, by the way, on this YouTube channel, so you can rewind, look in the list of videos on this channel. You'll see some poetry for me, you'll see some music for me. I did a bit of music as well. So I dabble in lots of creative things, but I'm just trying out this series of Christian hip hop content because I can see there's a massive gap in the market for it on YouTube. So, you know, there's a lot of opportunity there for me to build a community of people who love Christian hip hop, because you guys are out there, those of you who are rocking with, you know, Christian rap. You know, it's about time that we had a cohesive kind of online community of YouTube reactors. I'm just going to shout out a few people who have been consistent. People like True God. He's a vet when it comes to these Christian hip hop reactions. Obviously David Livick, I know he took some time off from his YouTube channel, but I think he's back now, I don't know. But David Livick over the past few years has done a great job, so shout out to you, David. Shout out to Mitch Darrell, who's a more recent YouTuber when it comes to this whole Christian rap stuff. Mitch, your reactions have been great, so shout out to you, man. Really raising the bar in terms of the standard of editing and the topics being covered. So shout out to you, Mitch. You're doing great work. Of course, over in the UK, shout out to Exo and I think I'm saying that name correctly. Exo, and also It's Elijah Nation is his YouTube channel as well. So those are two other guys that I've been connecting with personally online over the past couple of years, and they are also great guys who are reacting to CHH music here in the UK. So we're a small tribe, you know. We're not quite as big as the the Sean C's and the Anthony Fantanos and the Miamis and all these major YouTube reactors who are very popular in hip hop reactions, but you know, we are on the rise, and there is a demand. I can see with the views on other channels that there is more of a demand for this Christian hip hop reaction content. So I'm gonna give it a go and see what happens, man. And if I can grow a community, then, you know, this might be maybe the first of my various creative ventures that really starts to take off. So yeah, I grew up in London, as you can tell from my accent. I grew up in South London, and we live in a council flat. We lived in Clapham Park, so it's kind of near Brixton. Very multicultural, a big presence. Back in the day, you know, early 2000s, I guess when it came to black culture in the UK, it was predominantly run by, you know, Caribbean culture. There wasn't as big of a presence or pride in African roots as there is now with the rise of Afro beats and all that stuff. So that's the kind of context I grew up in. There was just gospel music playing in our house, you know, like straight gospel worship music. You had your Kirk Franklin, Donnie McClurkin, Mary, Alvin Slaughter, you know, all these kind of gospel artists. There wasn't any hip hop that was actively played in our household. My only exposure to hip hop was through the television. Back in the day when we had Channel U, that was more for like UK rap, and then we had, you know, other channels. So I was fascinated by music videos with Eminem, D12, 50 Cent, all of that stuff. Back in the day, I wasn't aware of this, but we did have one rap CD in our household. I don't know where my parents bought it from, but that CD was, funnily enough, a Christian rap CD. It was a compilation CD, and I think it came out in like 2002. So I didn't know it at the time because I was only about probably 6 years old. But yeah, the likes of The Ambassador is a veteran when it comes, not The Ambassador, he wasn't on there. The Cross Movement were on there. They were a big, popular kind of Christian hip hop group. Back in the day when rap groups were more of a thing. So this, again, early 2000s, late 90s was the time period that the Cross Movement were very popular. You had John Reuben. You had John Reuben was a white rapper, and I did kind of compare him to Eminem, but he did have his own style as well. There was this rapper called Little IRock Williams. There was Sev Static. All sorts of very old school Christian hip hop artists that many Christian hip hop fans today might not even be aware of. But at the time, I didn't know it was Christian hip hop. I just thought I just liked the beat, I liked the music. And yeah, it was my jam. Like literally, I would put the CD on by myself. I remember when my grandma would come from Ghana, and sometimes when she was looking after me, I would take out a little stereo and just put the CD in and just be nodding my head to it. So I kind of grew up on Christian hip hop in that respect, although I didn't realize it was Christian at the time. And then many years passed. I went to Ghana, schooled there for about a year, came back. We moved to Essex. I'm in a different demographic now. It's not as multicultural as where I used to live in the South London. So this is like more east of London. Essex is a lot more of a predominantly white area. So culturally, you know, I kind of didn't fit in a sense. And, you know, but then I went to a great church, shout out Trinity Church in Brentwood. We had great times there. I became a teenager around this time, so I was in secondary school. And I remember I first started going to Christian youth events. So there was one called Soul Survivor that was very popular in the UK. They have stopped running that annual event now, but it was like since I think the 90s, Soul Survivor has been an amazing kind of conference every summer where Christians in the UK and even in all across the world unite and come and authentically worship Jesus. And that was my kind of first exposure to seeing that actually you can be an authentic young person and have that deep, intimate relationship with God. And I started seeing some, you know, I can't remember the names of the rappers that I first met, but I started seeing Christian rappers. I never knew Christian rap was a thing. As it has been the case with many people who have entered Christian rap, you know, my first exposure was Lecrae. I remember the very first CHH song I heard was Background. And yeah, in fact, you know what? I might even play that song right now. Sometimes I get in the way. Hey, let me turn this up, man. I play the background. I'm confused. I don't even get my lines. I'm sticking to your script, and I'm reading all your sides. I don't need my name in lights. If I don't live according to your word, I can't endure this. This one hit me in my feelings, man. It hit different, especially on the bus ride home from the event. You know, I had this amazing mountaintop experience, learning about the Holy Spirit and, you know, feeling on fire for Jesus. And then I heard this song on the way back to our church, and I was just like, because it's like, this is what it means to be a Christian. Like, it's not, how often do you hear a rapper being this humble in their lyrics? So that was it for me. I got immersed into the world of Andy Mineo, Reach Records, Sho Baraka, Derek Minor. And then, you know, this was like around 2012, 2013. So we're approaching Anomaly, we're approaching Heroes for Sale, these sort of incredible albums that were starting to come out in CHH, where we were seeing a noticeable improvement in music production. The quality of the production was going up there. And yeah, there was just a real sense of unity in the whole Christian hip hop space. You know, Lecrae and Andy and all these more popular artists in the CHH scene, they seemed a bit more accessible to other CHH artists. There was a lot more kind of collaboration going on at that time. And I think there's a lot of collaboration now, but it's just the look of it has changed. And everyone is kind of more in their own space within the Christian hip hop scene. So in one respect, you know, there's a lot more originality, and every artist has more of their independent style and their independent brands now within CHH. But I think the danger of that is, you know, we need to still remember that we are one, and we still need to support each other, you know. So, and I think we're starting to realize that now, you know, there is now, I guess, a resurgence of unity in Christian hip hop now. So it's great to kind of see that go full circle over the many years since I first followed Christian hip hop. But I'm going to play you some of the very classic Christian hip hop that I was hearing on that CD when I was 6 years old. And it goes to show, like, you know, God is faithful, man. These little seeds that God has been planting in my life has just gives testament to how God really speaks to us through culture, through music. So yeah, I'm going to play you some Cross Movement. I'm going to play you probably their biggest song. Some of you might recognize it, but here we go. I remember this was the first track on the compilation CD that I had. They don't make hip hop like this no more, man. Yeah. One day I won't cry no more. I don't even know the words, but in the streets, bullets won't fly no more. Hey, pain no more. Won't take me. It's all crazy trying to see life when it's all hazy. And how can I persist to do right when I'm all lazy? Feel me? Too much pain, it all ails me. The search, start the new earth, flex your true worth. Honor your son, let him come, perfect the new birth. There was another popular group back in the day called Grits, and I think they started to chart actually. They're actually making it pretty big on radio. I'm going to play probably their biggest song that, again, some of you might have heard of. This song features tobyMac. So tobyMac is another big, popular kind of Christian artist. He used to do more he's a white artist, and he used to be in a band called DC Talk. That was a very popular Christian band back in the early 2000s, and even late 90s. But he started to do his own solo work. Grits, yeah, they did a song with tobyMac, hit song back in the day. You might recognize this. My life be like My life be like. This song was the one on the compilation CD though. She feel it, we feel it, around we go. We feel it, we feel it, hey, here we go. Here we go.
No more room in the pan, I cook up rhymes in a bigger pot. On the road, what you figure got tricks in my sleeve. You won't believe my story, read to a bigger plot.
You see, it goes to show that Christian hip hop hasn't always been corny. Even back in the day, in the early 2000s, there were hits. There were songs like this that you could still play at a party or things like that. So, you know, for me, Christian hip hop has never been corny. I've heard corny examples of artists, but the most successful artists within Christian hip hop have always had that creative edge. They've always, you know, been saucy with what they do, you know. So, yeah, like to me, it just depends on the artist. We have great artists. We have artists that need a bit more work. You know, you have that within every subgenre of music, right? You've got great examples. You've got, you know, kind of less experienced examples. So it depends on the artist at the end of the day. But yeah, that's a brief history of my relationship with Christian hip hop. In terms of UK Christian hip hop, fam, you know, obviously Governor B is like our version of Lecrae in many ways. But so many other great artists like Esso, and even a few more like indie ones. You know, you've got Vic Tizzle, you know, he was big back in the day. He was one of the earlier artists I got introduced to in Christian UK hip hop. And there's a whole incredible scene of new artists that are on the rise now that I've started connecting with personally. So, you know, here in the UK, I might have to do a whole other video about Christian hip hop in the UK and what that history's been like. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Nathan a Day. That's my kind of history and relationship with Christian hip hop. And favorite albums I've had over the years includes Lecrae's Anomaly, Derek Minor's The Trap, which came out in 2018. I think that's heavily underrated as an album. That's one of my favorite CHH albums in the past few years. Obviously, Andy Minyo's Uncomfortable is probably my most replayed CHH album. So that came out in, I believe, 2015. That was amazing, incredible album. I would say it was a defining album for Andy when he really started to find his own unique voice and style as an artist. And yeah, there's plenty of other albums I could mention that, you know, it's hard for me to think of all the titles now, but that's my history. And now with the next few videos, I'll start doing some reactions to new albums that have been coming out. Next video, I might do Zaunty's new album that's just come out. And I know there's a few ones that I've missed recently. I know Social Club Misfits just dropped. I think that was a decent album. New Hollywood was amazing by Watapaji. I've seen the reactions to that, and yeah, I think that's a great album. I love the artistic direction he's taken. 1K Few, just dropping As I Am. Amazing. You know, again, we can see the growth of the new generation of Reach Records artists. So yeah, 1K Few's album production was amazing. His versatility is really improving. His melodies and his singing, I think, are heavily underrated. That's one of the main selling points for me with 1K Few, like his melody and his singing. And yeah, there's been plenty of other great artists and albums that have come out in the past 2 years that I haven't reacted to, but yeah, like Hovey has done amazing stuff. KB, obviously. Jay Monty, like so many artists. Paris Cariz, you know, so many great artists who are pushing the bar in CHH in terms of quality, originality, rhyme schemes. You know, like there's still a refreshing attention to detail that is paid when it comes to lyricism in, you know, in our CHH scene. So I like the fact that we keep things lyrical in our own way. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video where I'll be reacting to Zaunty's new album. I know I'm a few days late for that, but I just looked on YouTube and I saw that there's no YouTube reaction to his album. So there's so many underrated CHH artists who are not getting full album reactions here on YouTube. So those are the artists I'll be paying attention to. You might even catch some Christian hip hop UK album reactions from me as well, because that's heavily underrepresented on YouTube as well. So see you in the next one, guys. Thanks for watching. And of course, I forgot to say this, but make sure you like this. If you want to see me do more of this brand new CHH content that I'm starting to do, make sure you show your support, like the video, comment your thoughts below on what your story with CHH has been like, and obviously subscribe to the channel so that you get notified on more videos. Hit the bell for the notification, and see you in the next one. And of course, share with a friend, and see you in the next one, guys. Peace.